Well, hey there. Good morning, Brickheads. Happy Monday to you. Hope it's a good one. I know it's good because it's March 24th, 2025, and we have some of the most amazing, the most incredible rumors and news to get to you today. So before I get into it, I do want to just say thank you. Whether you are listening in on your favorite podcast platform, or maybe you're a visual person and you like catching it on the old YouTube, I just really appreciate it. Love having all the interaction, wanting to try new things. So I just love the input and the comments that you leave so that can help me get better. But with that, y'all, let's get into it. Let's just get right into it, right? Let's just talk about the whale in the room, and that is LEGO Pokemon. If you haven't been paying attention this week, some of you may have had a busy week, but if you have, if you follow any LEGO news and rumors in any place whatsoever, that has been pretty much the only topic of discussion for this last week. We got a teaser video that basically had a Pikachu tail done up in Lego yellow, and it just said it's coming, February 2026. Pokemon is coming to Lego, and this, honestly, it blows my mind a little bit because, if you've been listening to the podcast for a while, I actually put out a podcast last year that talked about 2025 and forward for LEGO. And the subject of the podcast was the future of LEGO is gaming. And I talked a lot about gaming platforms, different type of games that could have partnerships with LEGO that would make absolutely amazing LEGO sets and just make a whole lot of sense for creating new IPs. We've seen Fortnite, we've seen Animal Crossing, we've seen a very successful Mario, and then we had a little one-off Zelda. But I will tell you, in that podcast, I omitted Pokemon because it was all about Mega Bloks. If you've been living under a rock, all you go to your local Target, and you'll see basically the whole row of LEGO sets. And then next to it, you've got your Mega Bloks. And pretty much the only thing that Mega Bloks is selling that really goes off the shelves are Pokemon sets. And so to have LEGO, in my opinion, steal this IP away and to create this new partnership is absolutely incredible. Because, you need to understand, LEGO, as stated in the 2024 financial group statement, was a $10 billion company in revenue, right? Well, the Pokemon group, the Pokemon company, they're the same. They are a $10 billion company as well. And so to have this partnership, honestly, it's a tale of two giants getting together. And so, what does that mean? Is that a good thing? Like, for one, part of me thinks, yes, this is absolutely amazing. And I'm going to talk about the things that we need to basically make it amazing. But what does it mean as far as, could there be negatives to this? And the answer could be yes there too, because, if you have competition helps you grow, right? Competition helps you get better. For every iPhone, there is a Samsung, and they force each other to get better. Well, if they decided one day to go ahead and merge, there goes your competition, right? And we call that a monopoly. And truth be told, Lego's always had the monopoly on the building brick. But in the last 5 years, since a lot of those patents have run out anyway, you've seen more quality building style bricks come into play. First you had Creo, you had Mega Bloks, even though they're a little bit janky in my opinion, but you had like blue bricks and other, building blocks. You got nano blocks. You just go to AliExpress, right? And you can find a whole bunch of building block sets. But to have this major partnership means, the competition's kind of going away. Mega Bloks, it's done. And You know, what does that leave us with, right? I mean, Blue Bricks, they're pretty much done. Lego's getting Star Trek. Mattel Brick Shop, are they like the sleeping giant out there? Mattel is a huge company, but does Mattel have what it takes, or do they have the product line to dethrone? Absolutely not. Do they have the product line to even make a dent? We'll have to see. So to me, really, this is the last hurdle for Lego. This is the last major giant IP partnership that Lego truly ever needs. They got Star Wars. They have Harry Potter. They're getting Star Trek. They, have a whole bunch of gaming IPs. They have Mario, and now they're getting Pokemon. And pound for pound, y'all, you need to understand this. Pokemon is far more popular than Mario. Pokemon is more popular than Fortnite. Pokemon is far more popular than Animal Crossing. It is the number one game. It is by a long shot. Like, it's not even close, right? And so moving into 2026, what do we need from Pokemon? And I really hope Lego does this. I hope they listen to this and go, yeah, these are the 5 things that we need. 1, we need a Mario style CMF from Lego. Like, if you're watching the YouTube page right now, you can see next to me, I have a bunch of Mario CMF, the buildable little figures that give you all the Mario characters. And they're fabulous. They came in those little $5 blind bags, and you built your little character and you kind of displayed it. It's not a minifig, but it is a small buildable character. We need this in Pokemon. And in fact, this is almost a must, because to collect them all, there's over 1,000 Pokemon now, right? It's not just the original 151 anymore. People want more than just Pikachu and Charizard. And to get more than the original 151 or the big heavy hitters, this is what we need. And Lego could literally do that for years. They release 15 in a series or 10 in a series. That could span the next decade before we, run out of Pokemon. And Lord knows in the next decade, we're going to get another 500 Pokemon. So this is an indefinite supply that Lego has. Plus, if they do it like this, it's going to be a lot cheaper than trying to make molds, for Pokemon. Let's say they wanted Squirtle as a minifigure, and they're going to do it up Disney or like the Looney Tunes or Simpsons style, right? Where they have a unique molded headpiece. That's going to get really expensive really quick. And I don't think it is going to be as lucrative for them. And honestly, because it's a cartoon, because it's animated, because it's, again, not a human form, I don't know if a Pokemon character would look good as a minifig. So I really think the buildable CMF style, like we have with Mario, would be the way to go with this. Also, number 2, I have 5 things. This is the second one. We need BrickHeads. It just makes sense. BrickHeads is a constant for the last decade with Lego. To get a Pikachu, to get an Ash Ketchum little 2-pack, for $15 or whatnot, that would scream right off the shelf. To get like a 3-pack of starters for your Bulbasaur, your Squirtle, and your Charmander in BrickHead style, oh, it'd be amazing. In fact, it really does make a lot of sense if you did BrickHeads like a 3-pack where you had the Charizard, or the Charmander, I should say, in all 3 of the evolutions. So you could do a 3-pack and have Charmander, Charmeleon, and Charizard, and have all of the evolutions of that Pokemon. To me, for the heavy hitters, that would make a lot of sense. Your Mews, your Mewtwo's, I don't think a lot of people are looking for the Dunsparces out there, maybe a Ditto, but for the big ones, BrickHeads, I just think make a lot of sense. Moving on from there, though, number 3, we need both small scale and icon style, like large scale buildable sets. A small, I mean, we see this with Star Wars, right? Droids are a great example of this. Sure, lots of R2D2s and lots of the other buildable droids in Star Wars. This would make a lot of sense with Pokemon, and they would just look better. You could both have it in small scale, where you'd have a very affordable Pikachu, right? Something that's going to be more in the 500 piece range, somewhere around $50 or less, to up to an icon style Charizard, where it is a buildable Charizard. I think people would be paying $120, $130, $140 for that, and you get something that's more upwards of like 1,500 pieces, along in that piece count of, like, say, an icon's vehicle. That would be amazing. And to do just one or two of those big sets a year, I think would be genius. Can you imagine a large icon style Charizard going? It would go right off the shelves along with a Mewtwo. Now, granted, you couldn't do this with all of them, but those big heavy hitters would be perfect. Number 4, we need play sets. And although that's not for me, we have to remember that, yes, believe it or not, children love Pokemon too. But to have a your little Cerulean Town Poké Gym, or to have a battlefield where they can go and they can do their Pokemon battles. These type of play sets, I think, are going to be very mandatory. I personally wouldn't get them, but I think those would go screaming off the shelves as well. Much like the Mario treatment, where they have these play style levels. But more than that, I don't think they should do electronics, and I don't think they should set it up as like an obstacle course, but rather like the buildings that go along with it, right? With Nurse, what's her name, at the Pokemon Wellness Center, right? To have that kind of building, not necessarily a modular, but something where you can go in there and you got your little minifigure of Ash Ketchum and your little buildable Pikachu that's really small that you would get from like the CMFs, and you would have a really nice setup. So definitely some play sets as well. And then last but not least, we definitely, number 5, we need a CMF series, and we need it of characters. Pokemon themselves get all the play, as well they should, but it would be amazing to have a CMF of, where you can get your Ash Ketchums, your Misties, your Brocks, your Gary, Professor Willow, all of those type of characters done in minifigure style. And I really do think these are the only things that should be done in minifigures. Make the humans in the Pokemon universe in minifigures, and make the Pokemon buildable characters. That's what we need. So it will be interesting to see what direction they go. Is this going to be a full theme? If they're doing it right, it needs to be a full theme, right? They need to dive head first. Or is it going to be a one-off? Like a Hasbro Transformer, an Optimus Prime, where all we end up getting is a Charizard and a Pikachu, and that's it for the year. I think that would be a horrible decision. I don't know how the partnership works. I had no idea about the IP maybe ending with Mega Bloks, or maybe it's continuing. So I think there's that to negotiate, and maybe that's why it doesn't start till February of 2026. But I will tell you, the buzz is palpable. Like, y'all, it's something that it's the same level as when LEGO signed on Star Wars. I'm going to call it now. Like what Star Wars did for LEGO, Pokemon also can do for LEGO. And it's hard because kids already have a lot of Pokemon buildable characters done in Mega Bloks. So LEGO needs to play this right, but we will see. So yeah, that is the huge rumor. Well, it's not a rumor, it's official. That came directly from LEGO, but we just don't know many more details. So I cannot wait as the year progresses to get you some more details on that and to let you know what else is coming with Pokemon and with LEGO. Can you tell I'm excited? Like, I love Pokemon. Like just one more thing that I absolutely enjoy, and those would be things that I would collect if they did it right, for sure. So anyway, that's the big news. Really, the other part of this podcast is just talking about April releases, because April is right around the corner. And although there are not a lot of releases, I will say we are getting some big ones. So just to review, on April 1st, we're getting 3 sets. The yellow travel suitcase. If you haven't seen this, kind of a interesting one-off. It is literally just that. It is a yellow travel suitcase. Cute little thing, 184 pieces. Just a $15 set. That is on sale March 1st. But it's not under like any major theme. Marvel, however, we get 2 releases that they're both a little kind of quirky, if I'm going to be honest with you. First is set 76312, and that's the Hulk truck versus Thanos. So every 8-year-old boy is absolutely going to love this set. No need to stereotype, Steve. I mean, could be some girls out there, but come on, this is designed to be monster truck, right? I will say it's 229 pieces at $35, so definitely not cheap for what you're getting, but that comes out on the 1st. And then the bigger set is the Iron Man Laboratory. That's the Hall of Armor. It's set 76315. This is a terribly expensive set. At just 384 pieces, it's $55. And so Marvel continues to be, it's like, it's not just Star Wars that has the corner on being all expensive sets. Marvel is just so gosh darn expensive. So, 384 pieces for $55. That is not much. But in those, you do get some minifigures that go with that. But it really is more of a rehash of what we've already gotten with the Hall of Armor. After that, April 4th, we are getting a new Disney set. We've probably seen all pictures of this. I know I have talked about it a lot on this podcast. Love it or hate it. It's set 43263, and that is Beauty and Beast Castle. 2,916 pieces. It'll be on sale for $280. And again, that does not come out on the 1st. I believe that gets released on the 4th. I'm not sure if insiders get that one early. I didn't look that up, but I know it's wide released on the 4th. So you may want to double check. It may be open to insiders on the 1st. They tend to do that 3-day early thing. The bigger set, however, and arguably, in my opinion, the cooler set, coming out on April 10th. And that is the new LEGO Ideas River Steamboat. That is set 21356. It is a whopping 4,090 pieces. This thing is huge. It is gorgeous. It's also $320, which for price per piece isn't that bad, but it's definitely not a cheap set. But again, you cannot argue that if you like boats, man, oh man, this is a good one. It's got the full Southern style paddle boat like you'd see going up and down the Mississippi River, and the really cool interiors. The color looks good and even gives me these Disney vibes, that whole Steamboat Willie Disney vibes. I guess that classic steamboat that you'd see like over at Disney World. It's a really cool set. I think this is gonna be a real big seller. And if you loved the Endurance, maybe you already own the Titanic. There's just a lot of good boats out there. Like I'm not a boat fan per se, but you can't argue that these boats that are coming out are just really well done. It's just, I'm kind of like a little sad they're so close together, intermixed with so many other awesome sets. I don't know if I'll be personally getting it, but it's definitely a really good set. Again, that one comes out on the 10th, though, so not on the 1st, so be aware of that. And then the glaring omission, and I'm going to end with this, is Lord of the Rings, The Shire. We know this set's coming out. We know it is 2017 pieces. That's about it. We believe it's going to be $280. Originally, we had an April 1st release date. Then there was a rumor that is an April 15th release date. There has been nothing official from LEGO. And can I tell you my hope? Honest to goodness, I feel like LEGO may have dropped the leaks of this so people could see it along with that price so they could test the waters. Because I think they know how freaking expensive it is. And my biggest hope is that they hear us shouting from the rooftops that $280 for a 2,000-piece Lord of the Rings set is just absurd. And maybe that's why they are delaying the release. Like, in my heart of hearts, I hope that's true. And then suddenly it will get released at the end of April, or maybe even April 15th still, but it'll come out with a $250 or the original rumor, a $200 set, because that's what it needs to be. It is a $200 set for sure. There's not a lot of big pieces in there. There's not a lot of specialty things in there. It's a $200 set. So my wish is we haven't seen an official release date just because maybe that's what's in the change. Maybe that's what's in the work. I don't know. Again, wishful thinking, right? But keep your eyes open for the Lord of the Rings Shire news. I will tell you, and this is kind of a little bit of a bad side of having a Monday morning first thing podcast, is lately LEGO has been releasing a lot of information on Mondays, but like 3 hours after this podcast comes out. So if that keeps happening, I very may well consider moving the podcast to a Tuesday, Thursday schedule so I can catch all of that beginning of the week Monday news, because it is kind of annoying to release a rumor to you that's actually been out there for a week, because that Pokemon rumor has been out for a week. And it's given me a lot of time to think about it, so I can definitely talk to you about it. But I would much rather, be breaking news rather than, a week later news. That doesn't sell newspapers, right? So I'm giving you the heads up. I am mulling that over, a Tuesday, Thursday switch if LEGO continues to have big rumor drops happening on Monday mornings after this podcast release. So leave me a comment below. Let me know. Tell me what you think about that. Do you think that would be a good move? Statistically, podcasts are really popular on Mondays. That's why I have it as a Monday morning release. And oftentimes because of that, I record Sunday night, so I'm not really getting up at 4 a.m. and recording a podcast and editing a video and all that, magic, right? It's typically a Sunday night. So anyway, you let me know what you think about that. And let me know what you think about Pokemon. Come on, I know we've got a year to stew on this, but we really need to start talking already, right? About what do we want to see? What do we want to get? It's going to be pretty awesome, I think. I hope. I'm wishing so badly. If they pull this off right, LEGO they're already doing really gosh darn well, but they will be made in the shade with a new theme for the next 15 or 20 years. Again, this is as big as Star Wars coming to LEGO. It really is. And I don't say that lightly as a huge Star Wars fan. In fact, Star Wars is kind of getting a little old. So I don't even want to talk about it replacing it, but it is a nice, new, fresh thing that I think could really do wonders for LEGO's bottom line and do a whole lot of damage on my wallet. So anyway, with that, I appreciate you coming along. Make sure you tune in this Wednesday. It is a set review. If you like Marvel, we have a Marvel reviewed set that's coming out this Wednesday. But I will tell you, for the first time ever, it's not just going to be me on the podcast. And I'm just going to leave it at that. And I'm looking forward to Wednesday and seeing how it goes. But it's going to be exciting. So until then, I wish you a very, very wonderful rest of your week, a very wonderful rest of your March, and I'll catch you back on Wednesday, okay? We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.